agreed to, and I call the member for Bennelong.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Of all the speeches that I've given in this place, this is one of the most difficult. I commend all those who have spoken to this point and for the unity that we share on the truly important things. To witness the revolting blight of terrorism make its way to the centre of our nation's biggest city was something we all hoped and prayed would never happen. To have ordinary people, not law enforcement officers or soldiers in some foreign conflict, but real everyday Australians targeted so randomly by such barbarism is not something we equate with life we hold so sacred in this great, free and easygoing country, where our greatest conflicts are resolved on sports fields, in pools and on courts. To lose those two beautiful, innocent souls, Katrina Dawson and Tori Johnson, who were just enjoying another day, one as a cafe manager and the other as a customer, is truly confronting. Any parent will know the feeling of absolute revulsion at the thought of those forced to bury their child. The thoughts, prayers and wishes of everyone in this place go out to those families. But we also cannot forget the other victims. We may have been cheering at our televisions as we saw the footage of hostages escaping and running to freedom. But these are victims too who will be scarred for life from this horrible ordeal. An old friend of mine was one of those victims. John O'Brien is quite a legend in the Australian tennis community. He remains one of our best players in the world in the over 80 division. I caught up with John earlier this week when he came to Canberra to witness the Prime Minister move this emotion. John was the man in the blue jacket who ran for his life. When I caught up with him this week in Canberra, I pointed out that he was again wearing that blue jacket. He confided in me that this was his only jacket. John's relief after his flight to freedom, to the safe arms of those charged with that great responsibility, was immediately consumed by his concern for those still being held. This then was replaced with sorrow that will endure for the fate of Katrina and Tori. This gentleman, incapable of harm or unfairness, a product of the best that sport can produce, not trophies, but the disposition of a personal integrity that has now, through this tragic event, been enhanced with even a greater level of compassion. Mr Deputy Speaker, like people across Sydney and the nation, the people of Bennelong poured their hearts out following this horrific terrorist act. This was exemplified by thousands of floral arrangements left in Martin Place. Just as we had put our bats out a few weeks earlier for Phillip Hughes, this was our Australian way of standing united in the face of a threat that is incompatible with our values, our way of life. Whether it is a lone wolf, a disenchanted youth, or just an evil madman, these people deserve not to be named nor remembered. He is not a martyr, not a hero. He is nothing, and we are not afraid. The event should not have been a source of drama to be covered continuously in prime time and on the front pages of our newspapers, which only served to magnify, to make worse, the attempt to terrorise. Now stand strong in the face of today's announcement that two men were arrested in Sydney yesterday amid allegations that they were about to set off on their own senseless act of terrorism. These unimaginable events serve only to bring our Australian community closer together as we celebrate our values of freedom and equality and the rule of law. We unite in strength as we know that these values will always prove right and always prove stronger against any fundamentalist threat. Mr Deputy Speaker, on behalf of the people of Bennelong, I mourn with the rest of the nation at our loss and stand resolute that we will not change, and commend this motion to the House.